when you're ready. So hands and knees to start with, just taking the hands down underneath the shoulders and spread the fingers nice and wide. And we're going to try and work with the breath, so we're diving in straight away, but we're going to try and work with the breath, but with a little bit of movement into the spine. So this one's called cat-cow. Keep the toes tucked under if you can, so you keep the legs nice and engaged. And then when you're ready, just drop in the chest towards the floor. So the shoulders start to drop down a little, but the arms stay nice and straight if you can. So it's the chest that's dropping down. Just try and take an exhale here. Well done. Inhale, just try and push the heart forward slightly and lift the head. Lovely. As we exhale, start to round the back and start to drop the head a little. You might feel like you can press your mid back towards the ceiling and drop the head as well. And then again, nice and slowly, keeping the arms straight still, just drop the chest through. So it feels a little like cat-cow, but sometimes we try and arch a little bit more. But we're just trying to, essentially it's called protracting and retracting in the shoulder blades. But we're just trying to nice and slowly move through with the breath. So the inhale, you might lift the head, let the belly drop towards the floor. And with the exhale, just rounding the back, dropping the head. So just starting to build the breath, making it a little deeper, a little longer. And that will allow us to move through nice and slowly. Well done, let's try to do 2 more. Hopefully feeling like you're getting a little bit more of a flow, nice movement with the breath. Lovely, last one. Exhale round. And inhale, just coming back to a nice neutral spine, just pulling the belly in. All right, from here, you're going to take your feet all the way out. So just the right foot out to start with, press back into the heels. So we just get a nice stretch out down the back of the leg, so into the calf. Well done. As you do, just press back into the heels so you get that stretch down the back of the leg, and then pull the belly in as well and tuck the tailbone slightly. And you should start to feel that a little more into the core. Feel that a little into the right glute as well. Well done. Arms still straight, nice and strong. Good work. Switching over to do the left side. So left foot comes back behind. Press back into the heel, nice and strong. Getting that good stretch down the leg, back of the leg, the calf, the hamstring. And then slowly tuck the tailbone as well. Push into the upper back a little. Feeling that left glute kick in. Excellent, well done. And then nice and slowly just bringing that left knee back to center. All right, from here, we're just going to press back. So you can turn your toes over the other way, so you're pointing through the toes more. Have the knees a little bit wider, and we'll come into a child's pose. This one's a really nice one to get into the shoulders a little bit more and into the arms. So if you stretch your hands out in front of you as far as you can without lifting the hips up, so keep the hips down. Come up onto the fingertips, so we're nice and high. And then just lower the head slightly, so crown of the head facing forward. See if you can lift your shoulders towards the ceiling. So armpits lift, shoulders lift, arms nice and straight, nice and strong. And you're almost feeling a bit of a stretch down the underneath of that upper arm as well. Just maybe feeling the upper back broaden a little bit more. And then to go slightly further, we're going to tuck the tailbone, pull the belly in. And as you do, you're going to stretch the back, the spine a little bit as well. Keeping the arms nice and lifted. Well done. One more breath. Lovely, well done. So this feeling that you've got where the shoulders are lifting towards the ceiling, I'm going to try and transfer that to a downward facing dog as well. So if you look forwards and plant your hands so they're nice and flat, no longer on the fingertips, but spread the fingers still. Come back into a tabletop position, tuck the toes, and then turn your inner elbows so they face forwards. And you might have to turn your hands out a little to help with that. So fingers turn out, wrists turn out slightly. And then when you're ready, lift the knees, press the hips back, and start to lift the hips up a little bit higher. Don't worry if the knees don't straighten. You can just start to stretch out through the back, through the spine first. And then if you can, really try and get those shoulders to lift towards the sky. So you feel that stretch down the inside of the upper arms, maybe into the armpits. Maybe press the hips back a little further. Well done. So it might feel a little unusual, but we're trying to keep the shoulders nice and lifted. It also stops the chest going all the way through. Sometimes you're going to arch the back and press the chest through towards the floor a little too much. But as long as you keep the shoulders lifted towards the ceiling, that's what's going to stop that from happening. It allows us to keep that broadening across the upper back, which is what we're looking for, as well as that nice length through the spine. Well done. One more breath. Lovely, well done. Nice and slowly look forwards and start to walk the feet in towards the hands. So we're going to keep the feet hip width apart. See if you can spread the toes, place them back down. Keep the knees nice and soft and lower the head towards the floor. Well done. Inhale, lift, look forwards. And again, exhale, soften and lower the head. Pull the belly in, lean ever so slightly forwards into the front of the feet. Excellent. And then nice and slowly, we're going to roll up. So you can always take the hands onto the waist, round the back. Keep the knees soft if you want to. And then roll it up, chin on the chest, coming all the way up into standing. Lovely, well done. It's getting a little bit warmer in here now. So we're going to come into our sun salutations. Again, we're going to slow these down a little, more than usual, but we're just going to try and get a few extra little bits of muscle engagement in there. So feet together or slightly apart, sort of an inch. And then just see if you can spread your toes and then place them back down again. And then from here, see if you can get your legs nice and strong, so thighs switched on. Press your thighs back, and as you do, squeeze the glutes a little, so find that strength in the glutes as well. Shoulders come down the back. See if you can lift the ribs, so the lower ribs lift up, lifting the chest as well, and palms facing forwards. When you're ready, take an inhale and stretch the hands all the way up. See if you can open the hands a little wider, take the hands back further and looking up towards the ceiling. Keep pressing the thighs back. Lovely. Exhale, fall towards the floor. Soft knees, drop the head. Well done. Lean ever so slightly forwards again, so a little lighter in the heels. And just feeling that nice stretch down the back of the legs. Even if the knees are bent here, just starting to warm up the back of the legs. Lovely. From here, we're coming into a halfway lift, but we're going to go a little bit higher today. So take the hands onto the thighs. See if you can have the knees a little bent so that you can lift the chest and send the heart forwards. Gazing up as well. And just have a little tuck at the tailbone. That's just going to protect our lower back. It's also going to switch those glutes on as well. Well done. Exhale, fall towards the floor. Plant the hands. Step the feet all the way back to plank. Well done. I'm going to hold in our plank. So in your plank, imagine your right wrist pulling towards your left foot and your left wrist pulling towards your right foot. So you get this crisscross feeling across the front of the body, getting that core nice and strong. Hold it there, one more breath. Excellent, well done. Lean forwards, lower the knees, then melt the chest towards the floor, send the heart forwards, bend the elbows and lower towards the floor. Make the feet nice and wide. And then inhale, stretch the belly so you can lift the chest. And to make sure you're using your upper back, so you can hover the hands as well. It doesn't need to be very high, but just get that little bit of a lift. Well done. Exhale, hands back down by the ribs, tuck the toes. Come back into tabletop. Just take a breath here. Inner elbows face forwards for your inhale. And then when you're ready, exhale, press back into down dog. Well done. So again, keep the knees nice and soft. We're going to try and do 5 breaths as usual. Keep the knees nice and soft, send the hips back and up. And then again, try to get those armpits, shoulders to lift towards the ceiling. With the head, think about the ears being in line with your upper arms. So sometimes if you drop the head, look at the knees, you'll stretch the neck still, but you might just sort of overcompensate a little. So ears in line with the upper arms sometimes helps. Send the crown of the head towards the hands. Strong, straight arms. And if you can, just imagine your outer shoulders, so the outer edge of the shoulders, your shoulder joint just pulling towards the floor. And that should help you to broaden across the upper back. Good work. Keep the knees soft for this first one. One more breath. Belly in a little. Excellent, well done. Nice and slowly walk the feet back in towards the hands. Just a little bit of a gap between the feet and coming back into that nice halfway lift. Lift the chest, soften the knees, tuck up the tailbone ever so slightly, look after the lower back. And exhale, fall towards the floor. Drop the head, lean ever so slightly forwards, maybe spread the toes as well. Good work. We're going to inhale to come all the way back up. So we're reaching the hands up. As you reach up, press your thighs back, engage the glutes. Maybe take the head back slightly, hands back as well. And exhale all the way back. G-stand. Lovely, well done. Hopefully feeling that little bit of extra engagement. We're going to go again with that one. So nice big inhale, reaching the hands all the way up. As you do, press the thighs back, glutes squeeze, lift the head, hands a little wider. Lovely, exhale, fall towards the floor. Maybe strong legs this time, so pull up through the kneecaps, pull the belly in and then lower the head towards the floor. So actively pull your crown of the head towards the floor, towards the toes. Well done, inhale, soften the knees, halfway lift. As you do, really press the chest forwards and see if you can get a little bit of a squeeze of the shoulder blades. So this is easier if you bend your knees. Well done, exhale. Plant the hands, feet back to plank. Well done, we're going to get that little crisscross feeling in our plank. So again, feel like you can pull your right wrist towards your left foot and your left wrist towards your right foot. Hold it there, nice and strong. Imagine that crisscross across the front of the body. And you should feel like your ribs are pulling towards your pelvis, pelvis pulling towards the lower ribs. One more breath. Well done. Lean forwards, lower the knees. And then slowly push the heart forwards, lowering down. Well done. Feet nice and wide. Lift the chest, the shoulders down. And again, see if you can hover the hands a little. Exhale, release. Hands back down, tuck the toes. Get into your tabletop position, spread the fingers. Inner elbows face forwards again. And then when you're ready, pressing back with the hips, lift them up and send them all the way back for your downward facing dog. Well done. Again, we're going to keep the shoulders nice and lifted, armpits lifted. Straight arms if you can. Those inner elbows still trying to face towards the ceiling. That's the hard bit, but essentially what you're trying to do is get those outer edge of the shoulders to press towards the floor. So the outer edge of the upper arms trying to press towards the floor at the same time as the shoulders lift towards the ceiling. If you feel like you can straighten out the legs, press the heels back, calves back, thighs back. Belly pulls in a little, or it might naturally do that anyway. And then spread the toes. Well done. So you should feel really strong in this down dog now. You can do more relaxing down dogs, but it is quite an active pose. And the main benefit is to stretch out the spine. Well done. 3, 4, and 5. Lovely, well done. Looking forwards. Nice and slowly walk the feet all the way back in. Nice halfway lift. So keep the knees soft. Lift up. Squeeze the shoulder blades if you can. Excellent. Exhale, release down. Drop the head. Lean ever so slightly forward. Spread the toes. Belly in. And then inhale, coming all the way back up. Reaching up. Press the thighs back, glutes engaged. Leaning back slightly if you can. Open the chest. And exhale all the way back to standing. Well done. Good work. So normally we squeeze a few sun salutations in there, but we tried to work a little bit harder. We're going to try and get a nice stretch out now. So if you take the feet nice and wide, turn the right foot towards the back of the mat. And then we're going to try and open out the hips a little bit more. So typically the back foot is nice and parallel. Today I want you to just turn the toes out slightly. We're going to try and get a stretch down the back leg a little bit more. It's going to means you won't go down as far towards that right leg, so just bear that in mind. Reach forward with your right arm, be careful with the balance as well, and then slowly starting to lower that right hand down. So it might come on top of the shin or the thigh, even just go to where you can. And this is going to try to help, so the back foot turning out is helping that hip externally rotate a little bit more than usual. Then maybe stretching the hand up towards the ceiling. You should feel that nice side stretch down the side of the ribs. You can always get a little bit lower if you want to, but just checking with the side of the body, see how it feels. Well done. Nice deep breaths. Strong in the legs. You can try to squeeze the outer hips towards each other, so you feel a little more engagement. Well done, nice and strong in the feet and the legs. So you want straight legs ideally. Well done, 3, 4, and 5. Lovely. Lower the left hand, press into the right knee. Going all the way back up nice and slowly. We'll pivot around to do the other side. So left foot forwards. Again, just turn your right toes out slightly, so it's a little more towards a 45-degree angle. Hips are out to the side. You might even start to feel that stretch straight away. And then when you're ready, leaning that left hand forwards, coming down as low as you can, maybe the shin, the thigh. Again, bear in mind it's a little harder, so just go to where you can. Again, maybe starting to stretch and pull that top shoulder back, elbow back. And then when you're ready, taking the top hand up. Well done. Maybe going a little lower if it feels right. And that nice stretch down the right side of the body. Again, maybe squeeze the outer hips. That's going to feel that a little more engagement. Feeling a little stronger. Well done. 2, 3. Good work. Well done. 4. Looking really good. And 5. Excellent. Look down at the front foot, pushing to the knee, and coming all the way back up. Have a nice big stretch out and release the hands down. Turning that left foot in when you're ready. And we'll have a little go, trying to go for a forward fold here. So nice wide legs. I'm going to try go for a forward fold and then we'll go for a squat. So feet can be parallel or turned out or turned in slightly. And then when you're ready, just soften the knees and work the hands towards the floor. Once the hands are down or fingertips down, just walk the hands slightly forwards. That'll just allow you to move forwards into the front of the feet, spread the toes. Well done. And now start to straighten the legs if you can. So straighten the legs. We're not necessarily folding just yet, but straighten the legs, see how that feels. Press down into the outside edges of the feet a little bit more. Well done. And then before we fold further, imagine your outer hips squeezing towards each other. And as they do, you're going to feel this little bit of an inner lift in the core, maybe in the pelvis. And then you can start to go further forward. So keep that squeeze if you can. Might feel a little different. Good. Nice deep breaths. Still pressing the outside edges of the feet towards the floor. Pull the belly in, lower down. Well done. You can always walk the hands a little further back or even drop to your elbows if you want to, just wherever you're at. Well done. 2, 3. Try to keep the legs straight and strong, so pull up through the kneecaps. 4. And 5. Lovely, well done. Nice big inhale, lift, look forwards. Taking the hands onto the waist, squeeze the outer hips as you come all the way back up and release at the top. Well done. We're going to turn the heels in. Well done. And then just soften the knees. It feels nice to just stretch out down the back of the legs. So you can just do a couple of those just to stretch out after that forward fold. All right, we're going to go and hold into our squat now. So if you sink nice and low, just try to get the thighs low or parallel with the floor if you can. So a little harder to do. Sink back into the heels slightly, maybe even picking up the toes. Well done. We take the hands to the inside of the thighs. Well done. And then tuck under with your tailbone. So pull the belly in. Go a little bit lower. Well done. This one's a toughie. Good. 2. A little bit lower still. Well done. 3. Sinking down. Good. 4. So you squeeze the outer hips. Yeah, feel that burn. Last one. And 5. Good stuff. Well done. Coming all the way back up when you're ready. We'll take a nice big stretch out. Woo! Feeling that in those outer hips. Excellent. Okay, we're going to try to stretch it out a little bit more. We're going to go for a little bit of a fold. So just from the middle of the mat, shake out a bit more if you need to. And then step forward with your right foot. Your left toes are going to be facing forwards as well. So your hips are facing forwards. You can always take hands onto the waist or the hips to check in. And then start to pull your right hip back a little bit more. So right hip pulls back. Well done. Chest starts to come a little bit more over that right leg. And then nice and slowly start to fold forwards. Keep this right leg strong. Leaning forwards, just halfway to start with. And then stretch the hands out as well. We're trying to find length down the front of the body. So really scoop out the belly. Try to hold it there. And then once you feel comfortable, you can start to go a little bit more. Nothing feels comfortable, by the way, when you're doing yoga. Maybe child's pose, but not too much discomfort, basically. And then lowering down. Okay, we're going to try and get a little more engagement into this right leg. So you can always rest on the shin. You can keep up a little bit higher if you want to, or take the hands or fingertips either side of the front foot. And then to feel a little bit more, you're going to imagine your right sit bone pulling towards your left heel. So the right hip might be out to the side. You're going to try and pull your right sit bone towards your left heel. That's pulling your right hip back and creating this external rotation with your upper leg. Okay, we're going to go with the opposite way now with the lower part of the right leg. So if you can, try and press down into the base of the big toe on your right foot and lift the other toes. At the same time, just pulling that right sit bone towards your left heel. So it starts to get a little hard here, a little more challenging. Well done. If you feel that engagement, and there's a lot to think about, but try to hold those two elements if you can. Right sit bone towards the left heel. Pressing the base of the big toe down on that right foot. Other toes lift. Well done. Take an inhale, lift the chest. And exhale, go a little bit further with your fold. Lovely, well done. One more. Nice big inhale. And exhale. Good stuff, well done. Nice and slowly, just soften the front knee and bring yourself all the way back up. Lovely, let's switch over to the other side. So right foot goes back this time. And again, you've got this nice diagonal line between the heels, back toes are facing forward, hands come onto the hips just to check in. And then when you're ready, pull your left hip back a little bit more. Well done, chest starts to come over the left foot now. And then reaching forward, get some length. Strong, straight left leg. Back heel can press down a little. Well done, so lots of length down the front of the body. Scoop the belly out, keep the length down the front as well as the back. And then when you're ready, starting to lower the hands either on top of the shin, maybe the ankle of the foot, or the outside of the foot. Well done, and then let's try and get that engagement into the leg. So left sit bone. So your left buttock is pulling towards your right heel this time. Well done, hold it there, keep that engagement. Just feel that nice stretch. Well done, and now we're going to press the base of the left big toe down towards the floor, so much so that the other toes might lift off the floor. And you should find that that really lengthens down the inside of the leg. So if you walk a little more on the outside of the feet, and it might be something that you're not aware of, but if you really feel that stretch, it might mean that you walk a little more on the outside of the feet and less on the inside. And if you can improve the strength on the inside of your feet, that will actually help you improve your balance a little bit more as well. Well done, let's try and hold it there. Excellent, so we're keeping that focus. We're going to do 2 more breaths, try and fold a little bit further. Well done, nice big inhale, lengthen through the back, belly in. Exhale, folding down. Well done, 1 more breath, nice big inhale. And exhale. Well done, nice and slowly, just soften the front knee. You're going to take that right foot forwards, and then when you're ready, just soften the knees, folding down, belly in. Well done, inhale, halfway lift. Again, soften the knees, lift the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades, send the heart forwards. Excellent, well done. Soften the knees more, plant the hands, and step your feet all the way back to plank. Well done, nice and strong in that plank. Again, just pull your hands towards your feet. You can do that crisscross feeling again. Otherwise, just toes pull towards the hands pull towards the toes, vice versa there. Lovely, 1 more breath. Excellent, well done. Shifting forwards, lower the knees. Let the heart melt towards the floor, and then bend the elbows and lower down. Well done, take the feet a little bit wider. Inhale, start to stretch the belly, the chest. Hold it there so you can hover the hands. This one's a tough one, but it will really help you to strengthen your upper back and help improve posture. Well done. Exhale, release, hands back down, tuck the toes. Coming into that tabletop position when you're ready. Fingers can turn out slightly, inner elbows facing forwards. Keep them there if you can. If you have to really work hard to keep the inner elbows facing forward, slowly lift the knees and slowly press back and notice what happens to those inner elbows. They will start to roll in, but if you can be aware of it and keep trying to roll them out, then that will help you with the shoulders in this downward facing dog. Keeping the shoulders lifted will be a little easier as well if you do that. So we're always trying to get an external rotation of the upper arms. Well done. Hips go back. Well done. Heels back, calves back, thighs back. Spread the toes. One more breath. Well done. Nice and slowly, I'm going to work our way through to seated. Woo! Well done. And taking the feet all the way out in front. Well done, everyone. We're nearly there. All right, so we haven't done half as many postures as we usually do, but hopefully you've got a little bit more engagement. And as you just practice these, it's a lot easier to switch all those engagement muscles on as you work through different postures. I'm not expecting you to remember it all, but if you just take a couple of bits away, then that will definitely help with your next practice. Okay, so let's do a forward fold now. So we're going to try and get the heels to press down. You can point the toes forwards, calves press down, and as if you're trying to spread the back of your calves. Thighs press down, or back of the legs, your hamstrings press down, and try and spread the back as well. Okay, so nice and strong in the legs. Just check in with the toes. This is another one that sometimes happens. If you use the inside or the outside of your feet more, you might find your little toes are pressing more forwards and you can see your big toes more. In which case, pull your little toes towards your hips. So even if you feel like your toes are nice and straight and level, just pull your little toes towards your hips. And you should feel that stretch down the inside of the legs a little bit more. And that's very similar to that forward fold that we did just. So hold that there. All right, so lots of engagement going on. Nice big inhale, stretch the hands all the way up. And then exhale, reach forward as far as you can. Hold that, we're gonna hold halfway. This one's real tough because we have to use the core as well. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And exhale, reach the hands forwards. Good for stretching the back as well. Well done. 3 more. Nice big inhale. Exhale, reaching forwards. Okay, 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Lovely. Last one. Nice big inhale. And exhale, reaching forwards. Just see if you've got a little bit further. See where the hands get to. Take them down towards the outside of the legs, the feet. Well done. And then just start to reach the crown of the head forwards as well. Almost as if you're looking at your knees or your shins or your thighs. And then soften the shoulders. So when we do our forward fold, sometimes the shoulders creep up towards the ears. So try and pull them back down towards the hips. Excellent. Well done. Nice and slowly release and shake out the legs. Well done. Should be feet in that one. All right, we're going to bring the feet in and then let the knees drop out to the side. We're just going to try and soften for this one. We've had lots of engagement going on, so we're just going to try and soften for this next one. So with the knees dropped out to the side, you want the outer edges of the feet pressing together a little. And it might be that you can even see the bottoms of the feet a little bit more. So it's like you're opening the pages of a book. Okay. Check in with the knees, see if one's a little lower than the other. And if you have got one lower, just actually try and bring it up a little higher so it matches the other side. Just means that that one's not as strong. Also means that it's more flexible, but not as strong. And then when you're ready, try to sit up a little taller. And then exhale, we're going to try to fold forwards. And as you come further forwards, it just means you're shifting the weight slightly forwards over the hips. You might even be able to get your elbows to the inside of the legs and then use the weight of the arms, the upper body to press down slightly. It doesn't need to be a lot, just a little. And then just breathe in. Again, you might want to relax any engagement that you're feeling and just have a little switched on. Just softening the breath. Nice deep breaths. And as you fold forwards and you take that inhale, just see if you can really Feel the back of the chest expand with the inhale. The exhale going a little bit lower. Well done. 2 more breaths. Lovely. 1 more. Excellent. Well done. And nice and slowly just coming back up to seated. Well done, everyone. All right, from here, we're going to try and work through a couple of twists. If you just take your feet out in front of you, feet nice and flat, and have the knees bent, we'll try and get a little bit of a twist and get into those hips a little bit deeper. So with your right foot, pull it in nice and close and just send it towards your left buttock. So pull it in. As you do, you slide your right knee towards the center of the body, so it's a little more in line. And we're doing all of that from the right sit bone. You want to always make sure that your knee joint is closed. So whenever you're working towards things like lotus or anything where you're getting into the hips a little bit more, try and keep the knee joint closed. Then with your left foot, pull it in a little bit closer. Now if you feel like it, or you feel like you can, then take that foot over the top of the right knee. And you'll have to sit up a little bit taller. And what you might find is that left sit bone lifts, or left buttock lifts off the floor completely. That's where we're going to try and get into the hips. So press down into the outside edge of the right foot, flex the toes as well, so you feel a little engagement. And slowly start to allow that left sit bone to sink down a little bit. And you should feel that you get this nice stretch into that outer hip. If you want, you can pull the right elbow in towards your left knee and start to maybe sit up and turn towards the left as well. And the more you turn, the more weight you put down into that left sit bone, the more you're going to feel that outer hip stretch. So see if you can feel that a little bit more. It can be quite intense. See how it feels. You can go into a bind in this one eventually. But it's a really nice one for the lower back as well. Well done. Let's do 3 more breaths. So use the inhale to get a little bit taller. And the exhale to twist a little further. Lovely. 2 more. Excellent. Last one. Well done. And nice and slowly looking forwards. Exhale, release. And then uncross the feet. Let's move through another vinyasa just to stretch out there. So take the hands forwards, take the feet back. Maybe get that little bit of engagement with your planks. So forward feet towards your hands, hands towards your feet. And then lower, or shift forwards first, lower the knees. Let the heart melt towards the floor, bend the elbows, lower down. Well done, feet nice and wide. Inhale, lift the chest. You can always keep the hands down if you want to for this one. Melt the heart forwards. Exhale, release. Tuck the toes. Again, inner elbows forwards. Press the hips back. Try to get that extra stretch down the arms, down the sides of the body, into your down dog. Lovely, well done. All right, coming through to seated. I'm going to have a little go at doing the other side. Well done. So feet out in front, feet nice and flat, knees bent, a little wider. And then this time you're going to pull your left foot towards your right buttock. And again, slide that knee towards the center line. So twist comes from your hip, not from your knee. And then right foot pulls in, or you can have a go at sending it over the top. And again, that right sit bone, right buttock might lift off the floor this time. So keep everything nice and tall if you can. Hug in with that knee and then slowly let that sit bone sink down. Little engagement, flex the left foot if you can. Yeah, well done. See how that feels. Might feel more intense, it might feel less intense, depends which one you've got a tighter hip. And then again, we're going to try and get that twist. So hug your left arm around your right knee. Start to sit up a little taller. And again, just starting to twist towards the back. Well done. Nice big inhale. Lift and lengthen through the crown of the head. And exhale to twist a little further. Well done. 3 more breaths. Exhale, twist. You can try to keep pulling that right knee towards the center, and that again will just intensify that stretch. Excellent. 1 more. Well done. Nice and slowly look forwards. Exhale, release. Well done, and uncross the feet. All right, we're going to go for one more hip stretch here, and then we'll work through for our closing sequence. So for this next one, I'll show you from the front. It's a little easier. If you have your feet out, so push them out a little bit more so your heels are on the floor, maybe the tops of the feet are lifted. Bring your heels in together and then flex your feet and open them out. So we call this Charlie Chaplin feet sometimes. And slowly slide your heels forwards. And depends how tight your hips are, but some people find this one quite intense. You sort of feel a stretch down the outer side of your thighs, your hamstrings. Well done. You can sit up a little bit taller if you want to. But just, so when you look down at your legs, basically you're going to have this nice diamond shape going on. And if you keep that feeling of pushing forwards with the feet, you're going to keep that engagement and feel that stretch a little bit more, that strengthening. And then if you feel comfortable, you're going to try to fold forwards. So the right side fires up for me. I always feel it on this side. Left side, I always feel that fire up. And then just hold it here. You can always start to go further forwards. And this one, believe it or not, is a modification for feet behind the head. So there's a pose in Ashtanga second series where you try to get both feet hooked around the back of your head and you sort of cross at the ankles and flex your feet and then you push your head back. But this is a really good one because basically this is the position that your legs will be in, but they'll be behind you. You have to work to 1 foot behind the head before you do both. It's a little more challenging. All right, so hopefully you're feeling that one. Some people don't feel anything at all, which is good. It means you've got good open hips. But likewise, you might feel it's harder in that last one that we just did where we softened. People feel at different places. The hip joints do a lot of things. Well done, let's do one more breath. Nice big inhale. You can always round the back a little. It might help you intensify that stretch. Well done. And then nice and slowly, inhale, lift the head. Exhale, release. You can release that engagement, shake it out, and then we'll go through for a vinyasa and then through for our closing sequence. Well done, everyone. Take the hands forward, step your feet back to plank. Again, right hand comes towards your left foot, left wrist pulls towards your right foot, so you get that crisscross feeling across the front of the body. If plank is something that you practice often, this little pull is going to really help strengthen your core. Well then, shift forwards, lower the knees. Melt the heart forwards and down, and then bend the elbows lower down. Feet a little bit wider, point through the toes. Again, inhale, lift the chest, lift the belly, send the shoulders down the back, relax the shoulders, heart forwards, and exhale all the way back down. Well done, tuck the toes, back onto the knees. Inner elbows face forwards. Well done, keep them there if you can as you press the hips back, lift the knees, send the hips back a bit more and then up a little higher, legs strong. Excellent, well done. And then nice and slowly coming back through to seated. Lovely, we're going to work through for our closing sequence now. So we'll do our bridge 3 sets and we'll have a go doing a little inversion as well. So feet down nice and flat. You can come onto your back, pull your heels in nice and close towards the buttocks, but still keep the feet a hip width apart. Toes can turn out slightly rather than in. And then when you're ready, press down into the feet, maybe lift the toes, just the toes, not the base of the toes. Basically so you can engage the arches of the feet. So again, really good for trying to correct any misalignment in the feet, which sometimes you feel in your knees and then your hips. And then when you're ready, squeeze the buttocks, squeeze the glutes. I'm going to try and hold it here. I'm going to get a good stretch across the thighs as well. Excellent, nice deep breaths. 1. So a little more engagement into the legs, the feet. 2, got the arches lifted by lifting the toes. 3, squeeze the glutes, feel the thighs work. Good. 4. And 5, lovely, lowering all the way back down onto your lower back. Take a breather. And then this time, taking the hands above the head, we're just going to have the elbows out to the side so you can rest one palm on top of the other, one hand on top of the palm. And then again, press down into the feet. Maybe lift the toes, engage the arches of the feet, and then squeeze the glutes. Well done. From here, see if you can press your inner heels down a little bit harder than the outside of the feet. So inner heels, inner feet, press down a little harder. You might find that the inner thigh engages a little more. You might feel that more into your inner knees as well. Again, if you walk more on the outside of your feet, you might feel that a little bit more on the inside. Well done. 2. Squeeze the glutes. 3, 4, and 5. Lovely, well done. Resting all the way back down onto your lower back. Relax the legs, the hips. And then last one we're going to try. I'm going to try and reach the hands up towards the ceiling. And then start to send your fingertips towards your ears. And see if you can slide your hands down. So your fingertips are facing your shoulders. Your elbows are up towards the ceiling. And you're trying to reach your fingertips maybe a little further towards your shoulders. So just see how it feels. It's not for everybody. It can be quite tight in the wrists. You can let the elbows drop out to the side. Don't need to worry about bringing them in. Just let them open a little. And then again, press down into the feet, pick up the toes, squeeze the glutes, and then see if you can lift the chest slightly as well. You want to be on the back of the head, on the hands. Maybe you've managed to lift your upper back slightly off the floor, but the back of the shoulders is still on the floor. This one is going to help us work towards wheel, which we will get to at some point. Well done. 3, squeeze the glutes, press the inner heels, the inner feet down. 4, and 5. Well done, everyone. Lower all the way down, release the hands, release the wrists. Excellent. Just pull your feet in a little closer towards you. See if you can grab the top of the ankles. Pull the heels in towards the buttocks. Well done. Just have a nice stretch. Excellent. Well done. All right, we're going to have a little go at doing shoulder stand today. I'm just going to move slightly forwards. So make sure you've got some room behind you. I'll have a go at showing you half shoulder stand. If you don't want to do shoulder stand, you can always just do feet up the wall. So if you're doing feet up the wall, pull your knees in and then take your feet up. You don't need to straighten the legs, but just relax here, focus on the breath. And if you want to go a little further for shoulder stand, keep the knees pulling in, press your fists and your elbows down into the ground, straight arms if you can, and then lift the hips up. Take the feet over the top of the head. And then once your lower back is off the floor, so you can take your hands to the lower back. And then you could just press your pelvis back into the hands a little. And this is half shoulder stand. It's a really good way to get into full shoulder stand. But then you're not having to worry about the neck in this position. Your head is quite free, your neck is quite free. But you just get used to using the core a little bit more. Just again, having the legs up a little bit higher. And you can work here. If you want to go further still, you might take the feet further over the head, take the hands towards the mid-back, and then start to take the feet up a little higher, and then you would start to get up onto the shoulders then. So just go to where you're at. Good, well done. If you're doing shoulder stand or half shoulder stand, try to take the feet ever so slightly apart, so it's just an inch or 2. And then roll your thighs in if you can. It's a little harder. Well done. Squeeze the glutes at the same time. Harder still. And then see if you can spread your toes. Good work. Well done. We're just going to do 5 more breaths. Well done. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Lovely. Nice and slowly soften the knees. And then just supporting your lower back. Once you feel comfortable, you can take the hands towards the floor, lower the thighs towards the chest, and then slowly roll down onto your back. Let your feet come down as well. When you're ready, we're going to go straight into our Shavasana. So you can take the feet all the way out and away from you, or you can keep the feet flat on the floor, just take the feet wide and drop the knees in. And then just relaxing down, palms facing up. Taking a nice deep breath. And close the eyes. Now we're just going to rest here for a couple of minutes. Just absorbing all that hard work, that energy, all that engagement. Now once you feel like the breath is starting to soften a little, you no longer need to focus on the breath anymore, but just let it go, allowing it to return to its natural rhythm. And start to allow the body to relax as well. Maybe noticing each part of the body that's touching the floor. Maybe your heels against the ground, being a little heavier and sinking down. Maybe the back of the calves against the ground. Maybe the hamstrings. Maybe your glutes feeling heavy, sinking down into the earth. And feeling your lower back, mid back, your upper back, just against the earth, sinking down a little deeper. Mixing the back of the head against the ground, the shoulders, the elbows, in the back of the wrists. Just feeling heavier and heavier with each soft exhale. And just allow that heaviness to wash over or through the body. And sink deeper down into the earth. So letting go of the body, letting go of the breath, and letting go of the mind. And just bring some awareness back to the breath, back to the body. Maybe feeling a little movement in the fingers and the toes, maybe the wrists, the ankles. And maybe even having a nice big stretch at the knee. Maybe even a little hug in with the knees, just easing out the lower back, stretching out the lower back. And when you're ready, nice and slowly, just rolling over to the right hand side. And then making your way back up to seated when you're ready. Well done everybody, good work for today. I'm going to take our hands to heart center to finish. Namaste. Thank you very much. Well done everyone. I hope you picked up a few tips today, even if it's just a couple. But thanks very much, and I shall see you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you. See you next week.
Bye.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Well done.